that. And, of course, if you label someone racist, then that person essentially in society has no right to talk about anything. So it's a typical left-wing tactic, which is not to engage people who disagree with you, offer counter-arguments, explain why they're wrong and you're right, but just simply to tar them and to stigmatize them, and therefore render them incapable of engaging in discussion on public affairs.
Right. I believe Saul Alinsky, that was one of the methods he mentioned in his book, Rules for Radicals, and that is to attack the enemy any way you can to destroy them. And that's what we're seeing today is basically politics via destruction, personal destruction. We saw it with Sarah Palin, what they did to Sarah Palin. And, and since we're mentioning her, I'm curious, what do you think about her just your general opinion on her pulling out of the the re-election race for Alaska?
Oh, absolutely ridiculous. Look, if she wants to be President of the United States, there's one thing she ought to do, and that is be the best governor she possibly can be. We ought to be able to look to Alaska and say, boy, that place is so well run. What a great executive she is. She's a great leader. She balanced her budget. She cut taxes. The place is thriving. She's creating jobs. Their educational system is magnificent. What a great health system they've got there, on and on and on. She hasn't even finished her first term. She's quitting, and this is like watching Andy Pettitte go to Yankee Stadium and pitch about an inning and a half or 2 innings and say, you know what, I'm done. I'm just going to go get a massage in the locker room. She's a quitter. This is a very bad thing, not just for her political ambitions, but just from the standpoint of the trust that the voters of Alaska put in her to serve 4 years as governor. She's violated that completely, so I'm very disappointed in what she's done. I don't think it's good for her political career, and it's a very bad model for seeking office. If you want to be President of the United States, what you should do is be the very best governor or senator or congressman or mayor or whatever it is that you are. Impress the hell out of us with your ability to run your city or your state or to serve your people in Congress, either from your district or from your state, and then move on to higher office. So I don't support what she's done. I think it was a very bad thing, and exactly a perfect model of how not to behave as a politician.
Wow. Yeah, you're not the only one saying it. I mean, word for word, there's everyone is, that's conservative is saying the same thing. I was a little disappointed too. I feel the pressure of her family being attacked, which she just couldn't handle. I mean, I can understand. She's surrounded by enemies on both sides. I do see that. I mean, on both sides. It's not just the left. For some reason, I feel the Republicans have something that against her too. But that's interesting. And I want to tell you one other thing pretty interesting was I looked up Romney Backman. That domain name has been bought.
Is that right?
Yeah. So that's something that
Well, I suspect that if Palin resigns, or she goes in and resigns, I expect, and if she sort of drops off the scene, which could happen because she will not be in power, this probably is a good thing for Mitt Romney, who also no longer is worried about Mark Sanford as a rival. It's too bad what happened to Mark Sanford, what he unfortunately in many respects did to himself.
Right.
But I really think that this probably makes life easier for Mitt Romney, which is a bad thing for the Republican Party and a bad thing for America. Mitt Romney strikes me as someone who is well-spoken, obviously a smart man, but someone who I don't think has a particle of ideological integrity or any kind of philosophical core. He's a classic politician who wants to be in the White House because he wants that line President of the United States on his resume. I don't think he has a clue as to what he would want to do as president. And if you look at his tenure as governor of Massachusetts, this man was all over the map on almost every single issue. He was for it before he was against it, and then he was against it again. And you look at his record on spending, on taxes, on health care, on guns, on almost any issue. And you can literally put in almost any issue you want into Google or Nexus and look at what he said in 1995 and then what he said in coming up on 2008, 2007, 2006, right in that period. And almost always had the exact opposite perspective. And he basically thought, well, I'm running as a conservative Republican, so I better adopt these conservative Republican positions. And either Mitt Romney was a conservative Republican who pretended to be a liberal Republican as governor, or he really is a liberal Republican who served as a liberal Republican governor of Massachusetts and then pretended to be a conservative Republican when he ran for president. But in any case, this man does not have a lucid, coherent, and reliable ideology. And we saw what that did to the last president, George W. Bush. And I've had enough, more than enough, my suggestion is they should go to Hollywood and serve in the role of George Clooney's older brother in Ocean's 14 when they do the sequel.
So, okay, before we switch topics, I'm just curious, who do you see as a conservative in this party here that can lead us in this country? We need someone conservative right now, and who do you see?
Well, there are a couple people. I think in terms of governors, I think Bobby Jindal in Louisiana seems to be doing a good job. He's reduced taxes. Seems like he's got spending somewhat under control, and has done a lot to clean up corruption and advance transparency in a place that really, really needs both of those things. And if he continues doing a good job, I think he might position himself well for the nomination. I think Mike Pence, Congressman from Indiana, is an excellent, very well-spoken, very thoughtful, and courageous conservative leader in the House of Representatives. I think that Paul Ryan from Wisconsin, unfortunately, he did vote for TARP last fall, and that's very disappointing. But other than that, he's had a stellar record as a fiscal conservative, very well-spoken, good-looking young member of Congress, who I think would be very interesting in 2012 and beyond, especially if he runs for a higher office and serves as a senator or something like that. Jeff Flake from Arizona is terrific. All these people, members of the House, I think it would be a lot easier for them to run for president if they run for Senate first, run for governor. I think that Jim DeMint of South Carolina is very interesting, very solid, very courageous free market leader in the Senate, as is Tom Coburn of Oklahoma. So those are some names who I would consider people who might be interesting torchbearers, or I should say flag bearers, for the free market movement in years to come.
Yeah, I'm also a Jim DeMint fan.